Reading is one of the basic literacy skills in the 21st century that impacts the personal learning of an individual and their intellectual growth. Many adolescents, especially boys, are characterised as reluctant readers as they move to the higher classes in the educational system. These readers may like reading but do not read for many reasons and may thus minimise their academic potential. Many different aspects which contribute to an existing gender gap in reading literacy have been identified, such as biological factors, reading attitudes, learning styles, and family and peer influence. Boys can improve their reading skills when they are allowed to explore literacy through a wide variety of resources and topics. The Boys Reading Project aimed to make reading an integral part of the life of boys aged 11 to 15 years. The project consortium asserts that this can only be achieved if teenage boys acquire control over their reading and are enabled to choose their reading materials from books that satisfy their actual needs and interests. Addressing the needs of boys effectively requires dialogue and the collective efforts of all partners in the education process, including government, educators, parents, and community members. The objects of the project were to raise the motivation and interest of boys to read and write in order to close the gender gap, open up schools to appealing materials, including digital ones, to make reading and writing relevant to boys' individual preferences, facilitate contact with male role models engaging in literacy, and develop initiatives aimed at making language development fun and appealing for adolescent boys. The activities and outcomes of boys reading address European educators, parents and researchers who would like to know how they can best motivate reluctant boy readers to get engaged with teen or young adult literature, which may be characterised by their focus on children's and adolescent experiences, problems and hopes during their transition to adulthood. The Boys Reading Project targets all stakeholders, but focuses especially on educators, enabling them to provide classroom experiences that respond to the interests, needs and learning styles of boys, and to engage boys and girls equally as readers and writers. The Boys Reading Toolkit is the most important output of the Boys Reading Project and comprises the findings of all the research in all detail as well as educational material ready to use in the classroom. The purpose of the Boys Reading Toolkit is to guide and support European educators and researchers in promoting boys reading while getting better acquainted with the kinds of books, preferred plot topics, subcategories and titles of teen and young adult literature for boys aged 11 to 15, as well as suggestions on how to introduce them to formal and informal education settings. The specific Boys Reading Toolkit objectives are to introduce European educators to literature for teenage boys and its subcategories, to provide educators with significant texts for teenage boys available in partner countries, to propose guidelines on how to motivate reluctant boy readers for reading through the existing curricula of partner countries, to provide educators with sample boys reading cross-curricular teaching units that promote reluctant boys reading and that describe specific methods and techniques, to inspire educators to develop their own teaching units, activities based on the activities provided, to assort and disseminate relevant resources to European educators. The Boys Reading Toolkit was developed in cooperation with 8 partners from 7 countries in Europe, among them Croatia, Cyprus, Greece, Portugal, Romania, Poland and Austria. The University of Split in Croatia coordinated the entire project. The toolkit is available in all partner languages. The Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences of the University of Split, as project coordinator, had the pleasure of welcoming approximately 100 teachers and librarians at the Transnational Boys Reading Conference. The conference took place at the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences on the 3rd of June 2016. The Boys Reading Final Conference aimed to introduce educational approaches that respond to the interests, needs and learning styles of adolescent boys, in an attempt to engage adolescent boys and girls equally as readers and writers. The first part of the event was held as a plenary session focusing on introducing the Boys Reading Project and the Boys Reading Toolkit through keynotes and case studies. The case studies from different partner countries gave examples of implementing the Boys Reading Toolkit in the classroom. The partners presented books that have been used, teaching methods and material, for example working sheets, role plays, group exercises, integration of tablets or smartphones and many more. All countries could report on very positive feedback from the side of teachers as well as students. The toolkit proved to be a very useful and practical tool that makes it easy for teachers of different subjects, not only language teachers, to integrate and promote reading in the national curricula, allowing boys in particular to be motivated. This was also confirmed by school librarians when boys came to the libraries after the lessons to get the book that was used in abstracts in a classroom, as they were particularly curious about its ending. The case studies were closed by an open panel discussion with great interest and participation from the audience. A poster and paper session titled Reading in Early Adolescence was organised in the afternoon to enable further opportunities for teachers and educational experts to share experience and discuss challenges and creative approaches. The paper session addressed a variety of topics such as educating young readers, overcoming reading difficulties, pedagogical challenges and reading in the digital age.
When trying to implement something new, it's sometimes hard to find teachers that are willing to start with the new projects. Once when they got introduced to it, it got much easier. But initially we need good contacts of teachers that are willing to devote a certain amount of their time to new ideas, new projects, new methods. And our first steps was to approach a teacher training agency and ask for their help. Teacher training agency started to cooperate with us maybe a year ago when we started to plan our teacher training workshops. They provided us with the names of people that were willing to participate in teacher training. Later on, their importance is in a way that they help us finding enough people or teachers who are willing to come and listen about our project during National Dissemination Seminar and final conference. We luckily started to cooperate with them, and a significant number of teachers is now introduced to our project.
I don't think there's nothing natural in it. I think it's just that boys have a stronger boys culture than girls do, and they like to do their own thing. And what we've witnessed in this past decade probably is that the young people's cultures become very strong and very much divorced from school culture. So what I think they are doing is they are setting their interests apart from the interests of school. And obviously what they are doing is they are sort of thinking of reading as connected exclusively to school. And therefore they only do it at school, and they do the minimum they need to do. And one reason for this may be that they need different kinds of approach to reading, and they need different reading materials, and their interests need to be addressed. And most of the teachers and most of the curricula are looking inside to the curricula and to the teachers, not to the pupils, not to their interests, not what they are doing outside of school, not to their interests in life, not to the way they are approaching culture, society, and how they are imagining their futures. And therefore, I think that's why they don't read in school.
Well, I don't think so, because you know, as I said, girls have a wider range of interests, so I think they can follow as well. Of course, by implementing the boys' reading techniques and all the things that we have been talking about, doesn't mean that we should exclude girls. I mean, the titles that we suggest, the books that we suggest, do not necessarily have to address boys. We can also keep in mind that there are girls, so we can have a separate list, for example, or we can just add books that would interest girls. I think it has to do with nature, so I think that girls wouldn't stop reading anyway, so they're more willing